when in an unfair fight between beautiful shoes and healthy nails, the nails do not win. In general, the first thing I want to say is that the video does not carry an educational character. If you have similar problems, you need to see a doctor, a specialist who definitely understands this. So let's get your attention. A young man, 17, 18 years old, beautiful, tall, handsome guy, but faced with such a problem. And when I saw the shoes he came in, a lot became clear. I'll show it at the end. But skipping ahead, I'll say that they were very cool, some kind of super ones, really fashionable, stylish boots from a brand, resembling something heavy and unlifted. In general, a young man suffering from such a problem found me on the internet, wrote to me, decided to try to save the situation. Well, actually, what are we going to do? We will properly trim this nail. Yes, in this situation, it really needs to be trimmed, but first I will use tape. By the way, it was not so easy because the feet are wet and you constantly adjust it, it will come off. And in fact, it didn't help me much, but at least it pulled me a little bit what I'm doing next. Next, I will use a tamponade. What is it for here? Because now, as you can see, something unpleasant happened on the side of the roller. That is, the inflammation has been going on for a long time and the wound is quite vividly expressed. That is, he complains that there is a red fluid, complains of constant pain, and this wound, in simple terms, seems to be turning inside out. The formation seen here is not scary and is solvable. It will definitely go away later. By the way, I will show further how things were in 5 and 7 days. There will be photos in the slides at the end, which I am doing. I'm trying to push this rank now because I need access there, which tape didn't particularly provide me with. But there are such situations. So I use different types of tamponades just to somehow get this access. I'm using a tweezer at work right now, and at this moment you are observing something that happens very often in such situations. I didn't do much. Everything's been polished here and it's nearly impossible to stop now. And all this happens for one simple reason. As soon as a piece of nail polish gets stuck in the roller, it kind of gets stuck. Imagine a drain in a bathtub, and this piece of nail polish, it's like a plug, like this plug. And when we get it here, naturally, the liquid will start to leave our bathtub. Well, in this case, that is. I use such strange formulations for the reason that I think there will most likely be a block here. So what are we doing? We are now trimming the nail. Our task is to level the wall that sinks into the roller. In other words, we can't see it now, and the work is essentially done completely blindly. Unfortunately, this always happens when working with such cases. That is, you can't see anything there, you don't have the opportunity to see it, so you use your feelings, experience, intuition, and so on. And now I'm showing what it's like when you can't see and it didn't work out the first time. That is, in this case I didn't cut enough. I slightly pull on the piece of nail plate and realize that it doesn't go any further. I can't tug it because I might tear it out and then there would be a splinter left. Well, there are sharp parts, which by the way are already enough there. Therefore, I decide to use the straight-edged pieces again for the grown nail, and now everything has worked out. This strange mess is the tampon that I put in before. Everything is normal here, don't worry about it. And now I offer you to examine a piece of this nail plate, because you can tell a lot by it, like reading a palm. So what exactly was it? He was like that, but if you look closer, you can see how many times, where and how he was improperly trimmed. So you see these irregularities, they tell us about the number of attempts to trim. Of course, they were there. Well, on the freeze frame, I'm showing you the green lines. These are my first 2 cuts, 2 chicks. The violet piece is the place I cut for the second time. And everything that's in red pieces, those are the parts that were in his skin, in the roller, which caused discomfort and other technical chocolates with his fingers. It's very important to show this to the client, to bring it to him, because for them it's some kind of magic. The nail has grown somewhere, something has happened, and you're there doing something and everything is decided. Of course not. It's important to explain to the client what exactly he did wrong. We reviewed, discussed, he understood everything, realized, and will definitely change. What recommendations did I give to such a client? I advised him to become our client or somewhere else. It's not principle. I just need him to regularly receive a hygienic pedicure service because it's obvious that he has difficulties with this. The nail is big, by the way. I will also tell about the size now, and I told him that it would be much easier just to regularly go for a pedicure and no more such problems. Well, next, of course, we are waiting for the installation of the correction system. By the way, we tried too. This happens, it's a normal experience, absolutely, because, well, some fit, some don't. Well, here I'm explaining to him where his big toe should be, telling him that comfortable shoes, well, aren't really that comfortable. And also at the end, of course, I'll show you some boots and what size shoes he had there. There actually is an interesting story about brands that constantly deceive us a little. Correctional systems await us in the future. I'm saying right away Titan didn't suit him, but it was worth trying because in my opinion it would have corrected faster in this situation. But the feet are wet, the nails are constantly damp from this, and indeed it peeled off. Plus, I have suspicions about the pressure that the shoes are still putting on his nails. But even now in this condition we can't put anything on because as long as there is inflammation, as long as it doesn't look very good, of course we need to calm this down and we definitely need to dry it out. I will continue to use the ointment, and I want to say right away that this ointment will not work without previous manipulations. Don't assume applying the ointment will make everything go away on its own. No ointment in the world dissolves a piece of nail plate that needs to be removed. That is, it is an auxiliary tool that we use later. This is important. Do you understand? I'm often asked, Elena, what does it mean to apply? You don't need to apply anything first, you need to go to a specialist first, and then you will need to apply, and everything that needs to be applied, this specialist will tell you. That's why I anticipate comments about what you've applied there. I see no point in just naming it because until you remove the piece, it won't work. Next, we have a breathing scarf, a vintage hiker favorite. Everything here is classic, including the drumstick. And please love how these little boots look. I know you will write that they look like hooves. Well, listen, fashion is such a thing. By the way, it looks quite so, well, as if spacious, voluminous. Well, here's the flap. By the way, we later put him on a plantoscope. And because of his flat foot, they didn't even take him somewhere. He says he wears it because it's fashionable and beautiful. As for the nose, yes, it looks very spacious and voluminous. Do you see where the line is going? That is, they do not go wide and freely, but go to the narrowing. His flap is wide enough. Well, as a result, you, actually speaking, saw. And now about the size range. Comrade brand Balenciaga decided to deceive us all because his foot size is 43, but on the boots it is written 41. And he himself speaks so strangely. Well, I understand, I am aware what I have, but here, for some reason. And we already remember with you that case when Calvin Klein also wrote 41 instead of 43, and the girl even had 46. In general, he came through, I think, 5 days already to the girls, not to me anymore. Everything was much better here, and it was necessary to install a correction system. In general, they tried to install Titan, but they couldn't. She, of course, bounced back. But, thank God, we have guarantees and all that. That is, we never back down from our words, from what we've done. It happens. Clients should also understand this. Even more so in the future. Everything has calmed down, and a decision was made to establish a corrective system, which is called. In general, everything is going fine. The flight is normal, in my opinion. It's already been about a week and a half. Here I am just showing it to you on the microscope, so you understand what these blades are like. And of course, I would have warned that it would be good to have some preventive measures in the future, at least some. I'm ready to begin. I have all I need.